Excelsior Music Publishing is proud to sponsor the Growing Band Director podcast. With composers who care about the educational needs of your students, Excelsior Music Publishing offers music for concert band and jazz ensemble, as well as method books and solo and ensemble works for all levels and occasions. This includes a wide selection of festive music for fall, holiday, and Christmas concerts. Find music for your next performance at excelsiormusic.com. That's EXCELCIA music.com. You've heard me talk about the wonderful Tuner Caddy product. Now introducing the Tuner Caddy Tuner TCT60M. Is a chromatic tuner that transposes for instruments in F, C, B flat, and E flat. Has a 6-foot clip-on microphone so they can tune from their seat, a built-in metronome to keep your tempos honest, and a bright, easy-to-read display so even the trumpet section can't miss it. Pair it with the Tuner Caddy and you have the Tuner Caddy system, a place for everything and everything in its place. Teachers, do you spend valuable time all year correcting your students' hand position instead of focusing on the music? Thumb Gummy solves that. These simple, cost-effective teaching aids fit on trumpets and trombones to guide the right hand into proper playing position, reducing tension, improving form, and giving tactile feedback so students can focus on playing, not adjusting. It's easy to use, comfortable, and designed by teachers and players for beginners as well as older students. Join thousands already seeing the difference, and keep an eye out for our new clarinet thumb rest coming soon. Visit thumbgummy.com to learn more. That's thumbgummy.com. I want to thank Austin Custom Brass for being a sponsor of today's podcast. Trent Austin started this wonderful shop back in the Boston area many years ago and has moved to Kansas City. Check out their unique line of doublers instruments that are perfect for students, band programs, and players of all ages. The Austin Custom Brass Doublers Flugelhorn is their most popular selling instrument, available in 5 different beautiful finishes. These flugelhorns come with a case in Austin Custom Brass's Fab 5 mouthpiece. The Doublers Flugelhorn offers a quality sound, playability, and affordability. Get one for yourself or your whole trumpet section today. Call Austin Custom Brass at 816-410-0826. They are located in Kansas City, Missouri, but they ship all over the country, and they're wonderful humans and great people to hang with. Austin Custom Brass works with band programs from all over the country. They can provide a bid to you today, work within your school's budget, and accept POs. Call their team today at 816-410-0826 or email at info@austincustombrass.com.
Welcome back to the Growing Band Director podcast. This is episode 295, and it is me, Krystle Smith, talking with a person who I just met. This is Alex Wright from Bob Jones Academy in Greenville, South Carolina. And this show, as many of you guys know, was totally founded on the fact that Kyle and I are frequently in a room full of band directors trying to troubleshoot each other's problems. It is really where and why when he came up with this idea to start this podcast, I was like, you have to do this because we don't have enough people to talk to about the things that we experience on a day-to-day, things that are real in our classrooms, and we obviously don't have enough professional development as it is. So Alex reached out to me and wanted to troubleshoot some things that's going on in his elementary band program. He's in charge of many grade levels, many different levels of experience. And so we're going to just talk through this. This is totally on the fly here, but this is probably as practical as it gets. So Alex, go ahead and let us know about your program.
Okay. So specifically talking about our elementary school program, we start students in 4th and 5th grade. And this year I have a time slot of 11:35 to 12:45. And I will be scheduling which instruments get which lessons throughout that week. Last year we had beginning percussion on Monday and Wednesday. And then I saw all the winds together. So flute, clarinet, trumpet, and trombone on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that was pretty crazy. I know a lot of band directors teach classes like that every day, but man, it was hard to get the flutes to do what they needed to do while getting the trombones to do what they needed to do, to be doing. And then I would see them all together in one big band on Friday. Definitely had some problems, so I'm trying to work those out for this year. Right now, I'm thinking of seeing the advanced students, so my second-year students, on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, teaching a beginning woodwinds class, and then I have a graduate assistant this year that could teach the beginning brass classes, and Tuesday, Thursday, and then teaching our beginning percussion classes after their school day, so around 2:45. And then actually just leaving Friday off for now. Students are missing either lunch or recess, depending on their grade level, to do band. So I'm thinking I'm just going to let them have that day because I know that idea is prohibitive for some students or even some parents.
Mhm.
Um, and just as we get closer to concert times, maybe pulling in that extra rehearsal on those Fridays.
Mhm. Yeah, so would you say you start a majority of your students in fourth grade, and then you have like some leftovers who decide that they want to in their fifth grade year?
It probably is a majority of fourth graders.
Okay.
I will say though, it's not a huge majority. Um, it might be more 70-30.
Okay. Um, and then talk to me about, because you had mentioned in a previous conversation that we had about some instrumentation concerns. So talk to me about your sign up process.
Yeah, so again, I teach fourth through 12th grade. So if I have any instrumentation issues at the elementary school, I'm having to work around those issues for the next few years through middle school and high school. I talked with Scott Rush, I believe it was a year or two ago, and he encouraged me to start the big four, so flute, clarinet, trumpet, and trombone, and then do a second mouthpiece fitting that second semester, where students could try double reeds, saxophone, horn, euphonium, and tuba.
Mhm.
And we would switch them over that second semester. So they're getting about a semester on those first four and switching the second semester. And that worked out okay last year. There's still some awkwardness with, sure, clarinet and saxophone are similar,
Mhm.
but there did need to be a little bit remediation on some of those other skills once they picked up the saxophone. Um, and now I'm having to think about students that started last year on clarinet that are wanting to switch to saxophone this year. Do I make them go through that clarinet class for a semester again and switch them again, or do I just see what happens if I let them in with the saxophone? Which saying that out loud sounds pretty crazy. Um,
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think are your biggest hurdles right now? Like what is the thing that you
um,
are like, I need to fix this now? Because I assume right now you're coming up to a sign up process for your
we
fourth.
are,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, So a little more on the sign up process. The first Thursday or second Thursday every year, we do a demonstration chapel for our fourth and fifth grades, so they get to see those instruments. A few weeks later this year, the first week of September, we will be doing a mouthpiece fitting, so all the students will get to try those first four instruments.
Mhm.
Um, a week after that, we hope to have registration finished. Families know what their kid wants to play. We'll have a little rental clinic after school so families can come in there. And then hitting the road from there with instruction. We do have a concert first semester. Um, and it's a small thing. It's during their chapel hours, so it's in the morning. So it's not as well attended as maybe an evening event. Um, but I think the biggest hurdles right now are when I see them and how long. So I am the fourth generation band director here at the Academy, and it's been great. I two of my predecessors were actually my band directors in the university here. So keeping that line of information of history flowing has been amazing. And talking to them, it wasn't as big of a deal. 70s, 80s, in the 90s, that students were jumping out of recess to do band. Parents weren't really bothered by that. I'm finding now the last 3 years, especially, families really don't want their kids to miss any recess, and I understand why. So I really hate that they're giving up so much recess time to be in the group. I'd love to find a time outside of that they could meet. But we do run into other classroom conflicts, or we have a really nice after school choral program for our fourth and fifth graders. And then just also how many times a week I get to see them. So I just see them the two times. And we did have a little bit more time last year than we will this year, but it takes so long to get them from point A to point B, get them set up, and then get them making sound. Um,
Okay, so far, what have your conversations been like with your administration regarding especially because you're getting some feedback from parents. So regarding we really don't want kids missing recess anymore. So what have those conversations been like for you so far?
Yeah, I'd like to say administration has been accommodating. They've certainly listened. Um, but we have always done band and orchestra at those times. So we really just don't know of another way that we would do it.
Mhm.
Um, we, I have thought about what if we require every fourth and fifth grader to give it a try. We're pulling from a much larger student body. So as we get into middle school, as we get into high school, we can really refine those groups. But then the issue of where do those instruments come from comes up. So we do have some rental instruments that the school owns, but they're not in great shape. And just given my schedule and what I'm teaching, I'm not really able to keep up with that inventory.
Mhm.
We do the company that actually comes in to do our mouthpiece fitting has an amazing rental program. They've been great allies, but still, can we really require every family to put that much money down a month on an instrument rental?
And then your
Um,
commitment outside of the school day is
right.
a constant battle with that family, and then there becomes this kind of divide. So I get why you would hesitate to go that route.
Yeah.
There's one
Also, yeah, also just I know that not every student really needs to be in the group. Like
yeah,
they might excel at some other things, but
yep. We have one program around here in Maine that requires, I think it's fifth graders. All fifth graders do beginning band. And they have this combination of ORF instruments that are obviously school owned and provided for that period of time. And then there's like the rental instruments and loaners from the school that are for the kids who actually really wanted to register for band. And I just I see the struggle. I hear the struggle. Um, I'm sure there are programs around the country that do it and have success, but I can't fathom it myself. So I totally understand why that would be a hesitation for you. I do think in this particular case where we know that parents don't want their kids missing recess, and that might be the one barrier that is keeping their kid from giving it a try. And, like everybody else, when kids don't actually jump in their fifth grade year or their fourth grade year, that this becomes a constant battle of like, well, when do they start? Because they are now sixth graders, seventh graders, eighth graders. In Westbrook, we have an introduction to band class that's scheduled that is an opportunity for freshmen, which is great. But like trying to get an eighth grader to jump in as a beginner, I have definitely had kids do it, but it puts a lot on the kid. And it's very special circumstances to get that kid in the door at that point. And it sounds like you still have that same schedule, grade 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or is it just 4, 5 that has this recess schedule?
so this would just be grades 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I do like our middle school and high school schedules. I see my high school band 5 days a week, 10 o'clock to 10:50. Middle
Yeah.
school, I see 5 days a week in the afternoon.
Yeah, so it's like totally a beginning band hurdle. And
Right.
obviously that has to be like a point of feedback for you to give to parents. This is only a very temporary thing, but also those kids. I mean, I'm thinking about my 11-year-old son who just finished fifth grade and is
Yeah.
now going into sixth grade. And like, if that child didn't have recess, holy
Yes.
moly, I get it. Like I feel the pain of the parents. I do think that when you get that response, encourage the parents to reach out to the administration and just say, a kind of a general comment like, I would love to have my child do band, but at this point, this schedule is really a huge barrier for us as a family. And right now we don't have a solution. So it kind of gets the pressure off of you a little bit. We know parents have a huge voice in our programs, in any advocating for their child, as kind of like maybe not an immediate solution, but just so that the admin hears that, like, yep, this is like not working the way it did in the 70s and 80s anymore. And it kind of needs to be on the radar. Um, I have had 20 years here in Westbrook. I have done, no joke, 17 different schedules. And I think I've been on every scheduling committee that has ever happened, even I have to like listen to teachers talk about how they schedule science, which has zero to do with me, but I know at one blip of one meeting they're going to start talking about how to schedule band classes,
Right.
and it just leaves the door open a little bit. So again, kind of like more long-term stuff. This isn't going to help you like this very second, but it's definitely something I would just keep a little bit of a tab on to help you in the future. Plant seeds as much as you can. And
So let me say this.
yeah.
The way our related arts classes work at the elementary school is every student takes art, every student takes a general music class, every student has a PE class. So our principal sits down and schedules those classes for each grade,
Mhm,
and then gives that schedule to the classroom teachers. The classroom teachers then fill out their own schedule based on their related arts, their lunch,
mhm.
and their recess, their academics. Um, we have thought about what if band and orchestra are put into that schedule. The issue with that is what do classroom teachers do with all the kids that don't sign up for band or orchestra? Um,
And some schools, again, that I'm trying to like piece together in my head your schedule, some schools choose the general music band orchestra option.
Mhm.
So it is kind of paired. I don't know what your teaching spaces are like, but that is definitely something every kid has to take one of those three things. And so kids who aren't interested in playing an instrument would then be scheduled for a general music class. With that is kind of how we used to do it in Westbrook. We're at a different point in the schedule, so there's like a unified arts block, and then there's basically a what I need block, which is where I now schedule band for my beginners. But there was a time where it was opposite general music. Sometimes people run into the situation where they now have a small group that's mixed instrumentation because it's scheduled kind of by class or by two classes. That's kind of like the hurdle that you have in that situation, but it might be better for your registrations. So
Okay.
definitely something to think about for the future. Um, yeah, if you had three teaching spaces at the same time and three teachers, a general music teacher, an orchestra teacher, and a band teacher, that model might work if you're not teaching during that period of time. So again, more kind of like long term, something you can't probably fix this year since the schedule is out, but something you can think about for the future.
Mhm.
So for immediate things, so signups are coming up soon. You do a demo. What happens after the demo, the mouthpiece fitting, and then the registration process? Do you see instrument selections of any kind for kids before they come in for the rentals?
So after the instrument demo, we send an email home just encouraging parents talk to your kid about what they saw at school today. Uh, Similar with the mouthpiece fitting, we send the score sheets home. I scan copies of them just so I have a copy of that myself. We send those hard copies home with students in their folders. Encourage the families to talk through um, with their students which one was their favorite, which one was their second favorite. Is this something that we can fit in our schedule? And then I include our registration link with those emails. I will. I was not as firm as I should have been about it last year, but put caps on percussion,
Mhm.
especially. So our percussion, I'm trying a little different this year. Rather than doing it during our mouthpiece fitting, I'm scheduling auditions, interviews with students, and I'll be picking those that seem like the best fit, and capping it off at a number. Um, I will encourage families that maybe we've got too many flutes signed up. Your kid seemed like that they uh, would do really well at trombone, and we have a hole there. Would you be interested in that? And sometimes the response is great. Like they really want their kid to be a team player. Yes, he'll do that.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't do much to say yes or no after that process.
Okay. Have you ever considered the intermediate measures of music audiation?
Yes. Yeah, I've administered the online version
Mhm.
years ago. So Edwin Gordon taught at University of South Carolina.
Mhm.
So we do have a lot of Gordon influence in our music ed program. So the first year that I taught, one of the teachers was saying, "Hey, you need to do this with your kids." So we did, and it I think was valuable.
Mhm.
I don't think it was as valuable as the mouthpiece fitting was my experience. So right now, if I had to pick one, I've picked the mouthpiece fitting, but I do still have the elementary school office leave the IMMA and PMMA testing on the calendar. And as we get closer, I'll say, yes, we'll do it. No, we won't.
Yeah, this might shock some people, but we actually canned our whole demo thing. I
Really?
actually
Okay.
don't do demos with my beginners anymore. We show a lot of different videos that are very engaging for kids about the instruments, about what they sound like at the professional level. Also, we found some really great ones of like what you sound like at the beginner level, because kids definitely need to know going into this sometimes that like you're not going to sound like a pro on day one. But what we put the priority on is the IMMA test and the mouthpiece fitting.
Okay.
And those two things, especially when it comes to percussion, I've found is absolutely 100% worth its weight in gold, because you can't, like you said, you can do auditions, but you definitely don't know the full picture of what's happening inside a kid's musical part of their brain, without doing some kind of test like that, like an audiation test. Um, and some of those things, it takes a while for them to kind of work out with a kid. So, especially with percussionists, I save my really high scores for percussion recommendations. I send home a recommendation letter. So it sounds like you kind of have something similar. I say to the family, your child is a very strong match for this one, this one, this one. Your child would struggle at the beginning with this one and this one. And there's usually one or two that are sort of somewhere in the middle that I don't put like strong yes or strong no. But in the end, it really truly is the family's choice. And I have had many, 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 many families who've gone about it with their kid and had a discussion about it. And okay, you're picking flute, but you need to know you are going to struggle at the beginning. And that obviously leads to kids sticking with it a little bit longer because they know they're going to struggle at the beginning. And percussion is definitely one of those that is very, very hard to match with a lot of kids. People think it's easy. People just think it's like not a big deal. Families that have been part of a band program, they think that, oh, their kid played drums when they were two, so they're probably going to be great with that. Or, there's a bunch of different reasons why people think it's just super easy to be a percussionist. They don't realize that standard and that expectation for that kid who's probably going to be one on a part, maybe two, is way harder than being one of 25 clarinet players most of the time. So yeah, I do give parents a lot of information about that. And what ends up happening with that is that when they give me the registration, I have a first choice, second choice, third choice that they have to fill out. And then as they come in, I heavily monitor the instrumentation so that I can keep an eye on the numbers. Flute always fills wicked fast. Percussion always fills wicked fast. And saxophone. We do start kids on saxophone because I love your idea about the second semester add-on. I have never tried that before, but this is making my head spin a little bit. So,
I have a few questions.
yeah, of
I
course.
guess we'll go from there back.
Sure.
What grade do you start in?
I started in fifth.
Fifth. Okay.
Hmm.
One of my hesitations was starting saxophone. I'm a saxophonist,
Hmm.
and there are so many little fourth grade hands that just can't handle those
I
palm
agree with
keys.
you. I totally
Um,
agree with you. Hmm.
every once in a while, there's one, but I found that clarinet last year really did help with
Oh,
that.
I mean, I see it in fifth grade with the
Yeah,
saxophone players.
sure.
I definitely get it. If I was only starting fourth graders, I would probably do exactly what you're doing.
Okay. And then the IMMA, how are you administering the test? So I have only done the online version,
Yep.
which I'm not sure if you're familiar with how that works. A link is sent out.
Yeah,
And,
I've only done paper version.
okay.
Honestly.
And yeah, so it was miserable. Like the
Yeah.
idea of all the data coming to one spot and already having numbers, having it in a spreadsheet was really appealing. But the tech itself was so glitchy. It was a miserable process for everybody involved.
Yep.
Uh,
I have the MP3 downloaded on my computer.
okay.
It's in my iTunes. I have paper copies because I'm old school like that, apparently. The scoring masks allows me to grade them in like no time at all. It's been totally worth it. Before I did it myself, because we have a pre-band period of time where kids actually come down during a regular class period that I can see them. Before I had that as part of my schedule, the fourth grade teachers administered it in their general music class because every fourth grader had general music. They did that in the spring of their fourth grade year, and then I would come and visit and do the mouthpiece testing, but they've put pre-band in my schedule for the first 2 months of school. So I've been able to work out seeing one class at a time in those 2 months. It's totally different than what you're talking about. So it doesn't sound like it would work great for you guys, but maybe a little piece of it would. But we do paper because I didn't
Yeah.
want to deal with the technology.
Yeah. Wise call.
Yeah,
If I did it
okay.
again, I'm definitely
That's
doing
good to know. Good
paper.
to know.
Don't do the digital. One
Okay.
advantage, I think, to the digital is it's actually designed not to happen in the classroom, but to happen at home.
Oh,
So the link is actually sent to an email address. So you can put in parent email addresses and the kid can do it at home. But I had the opportunity to have I actually did it the year before. So I actually tested every third and fourth grader.
yep.
So they would be the next year's fourth and fifth graders. But I had no guarantee that the link going home would actually get used. So I
Right.
just wanted to do it in class. And again, it was not a great experience.
Yep. Yeah, I could see
Um,
why that would be challenging.
yeah, lots of iPads, lots of headphones not working, stuff
Oh,
like that.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So you said something else that prompted another question.
Sure.
Um, so when we did IMMA, PMMA, we did third and fourth the year before, which would have been the following year's batch of kids to recruit from. Mouthpiece testing or in general recruiting, do you think we should recruit at the beginning of the year like we have traditionally done, August, September, or would it really be better to recruit from this third and fourth grade classes at the end of the school year to be prepared for the next school
Do
year?
you guys want to hit the ground running in fourth grade? Is there any reason why that would be helpful to you?
Um, yes and no. I think the schedule just being the schedule and not changing would be really nice for our fourth grade teachers.
Mhm.
They start the school year, they get into a routine, and then all of a sudden they have a list of kids missing for piano classes. They have a list of kids missing for band some days, for orchestra other days.
Mhm.
Um, I think they would appreciate it just being the schedule from the beginning to the end.
Yep.
I think over the summer, I would be able to anticipate and plan a little bit better
Mhm.
if I knew exactly what was coming in the fall. I guess one hesitation I would have would be what students are coming into the Academy family in the fall that I wouldn't have seen the previous spring. Um, but I would imagine there's a list of those students somewhere, and I could always target this family specifically to say, here are some opportunities. How about you give these a try?
I would work with your guidance department on that where they're taking in registrations from
Mhm.
families. It sounds like you guys don't have a ton of leaving the school system in third grade at the end of third grade or coming in at the beginning of fourth grade in Westbrook. The primary elementary schools are K to 4, and then the middle school is 5 to 8. We have a huge number of students who are coming and going. And that was what prompted me to like put up the surrender flag and be like, can we please do pre-band in the beginning of their fifth grade year? Because I couldn't chase down enough of the people and I really did want to get the ball rolling. I've changed a million things about how we do fifth grade band now, including when we have our first concert because of how that shift happened. But I do agree with you. If it's better for the teachers to have like a plan in place and for you to have a plan in place, maybe your pre-band is just the first couple of weeks with those kids who registered. You already know what instrument that they're playing, and you're going to still do something with them as a class before they get their instruments in hand. I would say like 1 to 2 weeks max is probably all that you need. But that gives you a chance to set their schedule, to kind of get a really solid plan in place for when you're going to start and how. Um, so I think you're leaning towards that third grade getting all of it done sounds right to me. The other option, and I say this, take this with a grain of salt. I find that there isn't much difference between starting a beginner in fifth grade versus starting a beginner in fourth grade. And I
That's
think
really good to hear.
yeah, I think that all of the programs that I know around here in Maine who start kids in fourth grade, their opportunities are exactly the same for the most part as kids who start in fifth grade. And I hear time and time again stories like yours where their schedule means they have to combine these fourth and fifth graders, and you've got a fifth grade beginner and you've got a fourth grade first year player who isn't much farther ahead. And it makes things a little bit clunky and complicated. I know that Gordon has a lot of research about this too, that the way that the music aptitude growth happens in a child, that fifth grade year is great. It's like a great time to start. There are programs all over the country that do start in sixth grade, but they meet with them a lot more frequently than I meet with my
Right.
students. So that isn't an option for me. I personally do not feel like my students would have an advantage if they started in fourth grade. Plus, we're dealing with the size of the child in fourth grade. I know what happened to my son between fourth and fifth grade. He plays the trombone. And I don't know if he would have played the trombone in fourth grade because he was a little guy. So anyway, it's something you can kind of spin around a little bit too, but does the whole system work better if you shift it one year where things are going to be a little bit more organized in place? You have better signups. They only miss 1 year of recess instead of two. And you can kind of prep them a little bit better. I mean, think about doing all of this prep work in the spring of their fourth grade year, and then fifth grade you hit the ground running. So I don't know. I again just throwing it out there. I had never claimed to be an expert in any of this stuff. I just constantly ask questions, and I want more feedback from as many people as possible. And that's what my brain says right now.
So when you say pre-band their fourth grade year, do you mean on instruments or away from instruments?
Away from instruments, yeah. You like all
For
the
that whole year.
Well, yeah, you can do like general music kind of stuff that
Yeah.
prepares kids for a band experience. I wouldn't want to say, hey, you're signed up for band in September and not get them an instrument for a year. But a general music class that is geared towards, the instruments of the band and keeping a steady beat and singing and moving and all of the things that we know benefit kids no matter if they're playing an instrument or not. That can be kind of uh, more curriculum for your fourth grade general music students since everybody's taking it. Then you can also capture everybody for your testing period because they're all there. So, yeah.
So we have a general music teacher at our elementary school who is the best I've ever seen.
Awesome.
She teaches, I think it's first through fifth grade, all the general music classes. Every student gets Miss Pegram. And she does do an amazing job. She's a singer. She has an amazing choral program after school. So even in fourth grade, when they come to me, a lot of them have great vocal placement.
Yeah.
Many of them can already read music. So
It
it's
sounds
nice
like
that
you
we have
kind of
some of
have
those things.
something in place that would work really well and complement the program really, really
Yeah.
well right there.
What are your thoughts on my proposed schedule to do the second year students Monday, Wednesday, and then teach woodwinds together, teach brass together, and then percussion after school?
I think that that is definitely the right way to go. Um,
Okay.
if you have flexibility, you may have some kids in their first year that take off that probably need to move up. If that's an opportunity, that
Yeah.
would be kind of cool. I would also say I wouldn't concentrate on the full band time, hardly at all.
After last year, I completely agree. So so last year was the first year we did mouthpiece testing, and we almost doubled our size. So I went from having a room of around 20 students to 40 students in the room, all of them with instruments in their hands. And it was chaos. It was not productive. It was fun at times, but not fun enough that I'd want to do it again.
Yeah, so
So, yeah.
I've spoken about with on a couple of episodes about the idea of doing an informants for parents.
Yes. Yeah.
I really, really love that model. And I only have the kids together to go through the routine of the informants. That is it. It's literally to learn about doing things together at the same time. It is not to teach new material. It is not to do anything that is like fundamentally based that they haven't learned before. It's just to repeat what they already know in a large setting and do the concert routine. So I
Mhm.
literally meet with them 3 times before their first concert, which is they start in November. So November, December, January. So it'd be the beginning of their fourth month is when they have their first concert. Their second concert, I meet with them 3 more times, is February, March, April, May, is 4 months after that. And that's it. So I literally meet with my fifth grade band 6 times in their first year, and that's it. Everything else is done in sections, in smaller groups. And we do obviously a lot of playing together. And so there is definitely routine there and everything. But I do a lot more with a track. I get off the podium, I'm walking around the room, I'm like right next to kids, I'm pointing at music, I have things up on the board. I don't run it like a full band rehearsal time because I have never found that to be a valuable time for a ton of kids that are in their beginning year.
Yeah. Um, what are your thoughts on methods, or what are the most important skills for them to acquire first? So, my middle school, my high schoolers know you're not going to make it through a class with me until you've played so many fundamentals. Like, I love fundamentals. If I'm practicing, I probably spend more time on scales and things like that than I should. Uh, but that's me. And I know the kids get an instrument in their hand, the first thing they want to do is play a song. So what
Yep.
are your thoughts on using a method book, on uh, introduction to like early repertoire, or do you just give like handouts with whole notes and basic ideas?
Yep. We do follow the Sound Innovations method book. I use that all the way through kids in their 8th grade year. We go really, really, really slow. I supplement all of that with the John McAllister warm-ups. I've
Yes,
found
yeah.
that they are incredible, and I literally can have a class of 60 kids, and I've got a track that's a play-along track. One of my big expectations with kids is that they're moving while they play. So even if it's like tapping their toe, tapping their heel, moving a little bit just to like feel the beat, that's really hard for some kids. And for some kids, it's very natural, but it is a big expectation in their first year. Every class, just about fifth through 8th grade, we have mouthpiece time. It's usually very short, but
Yeah.
especially for my flute players, I mean, honestly, everybody, I could just go down the line and tell you why playing on a mouthpiece is a good idea. But, I'll just talk about flute since that's my instrument, is a flute will never play in tune unless the head joint is in tune. So having their lip placed in the correct spot not only gets you an in tune sound, it's going to get you a clearer sound. It's going to help you look at their embouchure. That's kind of like one of those things that I just put on repeat with kids. And it's in the beginning, I can do it for much longer. There's different exercises that I do with kids, call and response related, that does a little bit of like multitasking where they're playing the mouthpiece and keeping the beat. And then as they get older, sometimes it's just coupled with another exercise. If you're in a brass class, you're gonna play this 5 note song on your mouthpiece. Um, so anyway, mouthpiece is definitely part of the fundamentals for all of my middle school students. Um, yeah, so mouthpiece playing, keeping a steady beat. I do so much remediation with music reading. It's a lot for some kids just to like figure out where notes are on the staff. And we do a lot of different games and things like that to help them with that to supplement their reading.
A few years ago, I think it was 2 years ago. I don't know why I didn't do it last year. I think I was just overwhelmed by how many students were in the room. We did a lot with the Kodai Do Clef. So we
Yeah.
use the habits curriculum. So students learn their first 5 notes, their concert B flat to concert F.
Yep.
And they, on those fingering charts, they're labeled do, re, mi, fa, so. And
Mhm.
it was amazing just to have some lines up on the board, have the do clef up there, and I could just throw notes up and we could all play and read the same thing together and talk about it without having to worry about transposition at all.
Yep.
It's a
That's an
great introduction to
amazing,
reading.
amazing exercise. I love that. I mean, the other thing I probably do every class with every grade is some form of call and response. And it could be just scalar based. It could be just, some rhythm thing that we're working on that I added in there. I have an assortment of instruments in the front of my classroom, so that's definitely something that I just add in. It's a lot because we're not even talking about playing like a band piece yet. I
Right.
try to put my fundamentals time like no more than 5 minutes. I try to like squeeze it into that time. Because I rotate things just to keep it really fresh for the kids. So I'm not doing the same thing every single time, but they are getting some time. Um, and I usually try very quickly to relate what we're doing. I'm having you guys do this one today because later today we're going to be working on this, that, and the other thing. And it kind of sells it a little bit better to them. So we have just about a minute left here. And I want to say, first of all, I thank you for reaching out. I would love for more people to reach out so we can have these fun conversations. I reach out to people all the time to even like, I'll just give you all an example. I'm not a good jazz musician myself. So anything jazz related, I'm on the phone. And I've had to figure it out just by asking a lot of questions. I don't know how to do this, that, or the other thing. Please help me. And I think it's something we all need to do a lot more often.
Yeah.
We'll be better doctors for it. So is there anything else on your mind right now that we can?
Not at the moment. I've definitely got some good ideas and some things that I'm going to ask our elementary school principal to see if we can slip in. But yeah, thank you.
This has been great. Really, really appreciate it, Alex. Best of luck to you this year.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait to hear more. Follow up. We
Yeah,
want to
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Great talking to you.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
We sincerely appreciate you taking your valuable time and listening to the Growing Band Director podcast. Your students are very lucky to have a band director like you. If you have any suggestions for episode topics or think you have an area of expertise to share on a show with us, please reach out. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your band director friends to subscribe as well. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening to The Growing Band Director. See you next week.